Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought provoking conversations. The 14th Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, is no more. He died at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences late last evening. His contribution to the development to the development of India can't be described in words, but India apparently can never have another technocrat prime minister. Now, he'll always be remembered as an honest man, a great economist, and a leader who dedicated himself to reforms. As an economist, he provided a lot of services to the nation, and during the challenging time, he served as the RBI governor when he was a finance minister in the cabinet of PB Narasimha Rao. He gave the country that was reeling under economic crisis a new direction in terms of the economy. But when you compare Prime Minister Manmohan Singh with Prime Minister Modi, and of course, people were wondering whether Modi will really put out a tweet, whether he'll visit. But we saw visuals of Prime Minister Modi and, of course, Amit Shah right there at the residence of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and paying condolences to the departed prime minister. But there's a lot of outpouring on social media. There is a comparison being made with Prime Minister Modi and Dr. Manmohan Singh. People are talking about how Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was lampooned, he was caricatured. And what would one say to those people now? Will their conscience prick? We're going to talk about all this, and I have a very special guest this evening with me, author, veteran journalist, political commentator, and advisor to former Prime Minister VP Singh, Mr. Prem Shankar Jha, this evening with us. So thank you so much for joining. And let me inform the viewers that Mr. Prem Shankar Jha also was lucky enough to spend some time with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh when he was at Oxford. So we'll also discuss about those memories as well. Once again, thank you so much, sir, for joining. And I'll begin with talking about those memories which you have of Manmohan Singh when he was at Oxford. And what was that interaction like?
Well, it was the interaction between a young undergraduate and and a much more mature postgraduate student. Dr. Manmohan Singh was there for his DPhil after having already done his PhD at Cambridge, or got his PhD. And the DPhil is somewhat more highly regarded than the Oxford DPhil. So he wanted that also, and he'd come to Nuffield College, which is a college for postgraduate students. And I happened to go to visit somebody I knew there, and I bumped into Dr. Manmohan Singh literally in the passage, him coming out, me going in, and of course two Indians in the city at that time, which had very few Indians. Actually, the whole of Oxford University had only about 90 undergraduate and postgraduate students at that time. So we began talking, and he began asking me. He just arrived. I wanted to know the basics of how one survives. And so where's the laundry, where's the post office, where's the nearest cinema, a good restaurant, and so on. And so I took him for a walk around Oxford, and we ended up in the university parks. And we had a long walk. We talked for about an hour and a half, and he was quite delightful and completely he was just he was a distinguished scholar already in Cambridge because he had won the Adam Smith Prize, the economics prize in Cambridge, and the Webb Medley Prize is in Oxford. And he had won that, and he had written his book on India's foreign trade. And I think that he was probably working to take it further when he was at Oxford. But it's a chance meeting, but we continue to meet through the rest of our lives.
Right. Mr. Jha, this morning when everyone saw Prime Minister Modi paying tributes to Manmohan Singh, there was a lot of, outcry on the social media. Not that people didn't want him to go, but people were wondering that was he forced to go because he didn't have an option. After, and especially a prime minister who's lampooned, who's caricatured Prime Minister Manmohan Singh so much, and at the end of and at the fag end of his life, that same prime minister is forced to pay tributes to the man, on whom he has been surviving politically, basically criticizing, pooning, making a joke out of it. what would you really say to a moment like this? What is this moment for Prime Minister Modi? This death of Manmohan Singh, what does it mean for Prime Minister Modi, actually, according to you?
Well, first of all, I think that you know this his going there was entirely appropriate, because it is not Manmohan Singh, Modi versus Manmohan Singh. Manmohan is gone, and this is the Prime Minister paying tribute to a previous Prime Minister, which is also paying tribute to the seat of the chair of the Prime Minister. Don't forget, and the authority of the Prime Minister. If he didn't do that, he would actually reduce his own authority, and with the people who matter most. That's number one. Secondly, you must remember that Mr. Modi is a past master of judging public opinion. And he has shown this in the last 10 years. And he has this uncanny knack of doing the right thing at the right time. Also keeping quiet when it suits him, in spite of the fact that he ought to be speaking up, as in the case of the Manipur riots. So he chose to go, and one must also remember that this is not a tribute just to Dr. Manmohan Singh. It's also a tribute to the fact that he was Prime Minister of India. So to that extent, if Modi had not gone, he would have denigrated his own position. And he understood that.
Last of all,
one more, just 1 second more. Nobody forces the Prime Minister to go anywhere. Please, straight away, let's not use the word force in this case at all. But lastly, I think that Prime Minister Modi understands that if he does not do this, he will suffer more than if he does, because that is his political acumen. He would be criticized even more severely for not going than for going. In fact, you can't criticize him for going, but you could criticize him if he didn't go.
True. But what would you really say to those people who made fun of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, that, he was a silent prime minister, and now when you see the legacy is so loud, people understood it at when he was a prime minister, people who knew what he was doing, they were justified of what he was doing. But now that he is no more, and the legacy is so visible, not only within the domestic environs, but globally also, the way the people are reacting to Manmohan Singh's death. Do you think that BJP's troll army, Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah, JP Nadda, will they really reawaken to a new moment, that at least up to Samhal Jao? Is that moment going to dawn on them?
Yes, of course, definitely. They are seasoned politicians. I can guarantee you now that all references, denigrating references to Modi will disappear. You will find, on the contrary, a few grudging, just sufficient, appreciation of him to show that, well, we are not completely out of step. They're going to. The idea is to disarm the opposition to themselves. And they will do anything to do that, including praise the devil if it's necessary. In this case, it's only praising Dr. Manmohan Singh, who deserves praise. So it's very easy to do. And once again, I'll tell you, it's what if they keep quiet, it would be the most dignified thing to do. Prime Minister Modi has visited, and he has expressed his sorrow and sympathy. After that, they should keep absolutely quiet. If they don't, they will only damage their own party. And from my point of view, since I'm not a supporter of Mr. Modi's BJP, I would be perfectly happy if they cut their own throats. But the fact is, they won't. They're very sharp, extremely sharp politically, and you will see that they will not do that.
But when you bring in these comparisons, when you try and compare Prime Minister Modi with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, do you think that comparison is justified, or that comparison is just too baseless?
Well, they were both prime ministers of India, so comparison is inevitable. But their mode of operation is completely, it's night and day, poles apart, North Pole and South Pole. Dr. Manmohan Singh told me more than once that he couldn't move faster on several things that we had talked about, and in which I had made some kind of a contribution in the prior to the 2004 elections, which we discussed earlier. When I asked him, why couldn't you move ahead on these things when you had put them in the common minimum program? One of them, for example, was state financing of elections. And he said to me, I raised this issue in the Congress Working Committee, and I didn't get a single vote from the 22 members present. I asked him, did that include Mrs. Sonia Gandhi? He said, yes. But we just said that I don't think that Mrs. Gandhi had been put in the picture of what the consequences of not doing it would be. It was just a question he raised, and there was no he was feeling the waters, and he found that there was no support. So he dropped this thing. I wish he hadn't, because it is the single most important policy reform we need. But it's not an economic area that. Dr. Manmohan Singh was much stronger on the economy. He was extremely good on foreign policy. Many people have already said so, and you doubtless on your other programs also. But Dr. Manmohan Singh, he was not a manipulator. He had to have consensus. He believed in consensus because
when you say
why don't you let me finish my sentence, please, just once. He had a consensus, then that policy would endure. If you don't have a consensus, it will not endure. You go and it'll disappear. It'll disappear, or it can disappear.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask you that when you said that Dr. Manmohan Singh was not a manipulator, but does the same thing go for Modi as well? Because we are doing a comparison here.
Between Modi and Manmohan Singh on this? No, I mean, it's again a comparison between day and night. In political terms, Dr. Manmohan Singh was and remained an innocent. Mr. Modi is a past master of politics, but nothing else.
Right.
Literally nothing else. He doesn't understand the economy. He makes rash promises. He jumped the gun on devaluation. I mean, demonetization. He's made mistake after mistake after mistake. He's made promises that any economist would have told him he could never meet. 20 million jobs he's going to create per year, he said. It's completely out of the question. The actual number being created was 7.5 million. Sorry, yes. So, the thing is, without data, without having done any background work, Modi would make these statements, and for a little time they carried. But then people saw the disappointment and the reaction. Now, in the case of Dr. Manmohan Singh, there's no reaction, because every single thing he did was done in the public sphere through a process of consultation, even antagonistic consultation, as in the case of the nuclear deal. And only after he had gone through that, complete the thing. And every single thing he has done has lasted. The pity of it is that there are a couple of things he was on the point of achieving: peace with Pakistan, lasting solution in Kashmir, which he missed by a hair's breadth. And that is the tragedy of India.
Stay ahead with our cutting-edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.